Welcome to another edition of the Morning Briefing. I'm Jeff DeForest, along with one Mike Lubitz, and happy to have you along for the ride here on nofilter.net. Sports can be so many different things to so many different people, and over the years, you may even find that it leads you to certain religious convictions and beliefs. We talked about this a lot here on this particular program since we started. How many times have you found yourself on your hands and knees and you're watching your horse about to get mowed down in the stretch there, and you would have taken down the Breeders' Cup Pick Six pull by legal means? Millions of dollars are going to come flowing into your pocket and your bank accounts, and you're going to be out for life. And all of a sudden, you find yourself in a situation where your horse is shortening stride. You're thinking, please, hang on. And then it transforms into kind of a religious thing where you're almost willing to do a human sacrifice of yourself at that point, just screaming at the top of your lungs, "Don't fuck me, gods! Don't fuck me!"
You're not even religious.
There's a religious angle there, isn't there, Lumi? What are you talking about? But it emboldens your belief that certain things may, in fact, be realistic, even though in some circles they would be considered to be pure fantasy. Like, is there a heaven and is there a hell? I certainly came to the belief that there is a purgatory, that there is a waiting room, God's waiting room, where you're on the downslide. I mean, you're on the elevator that's going right to the bottom of the pit, man, and it's going to be fucking hot down there. And you're thinking, well, what is the demographic going to be in hell? What exactly is going to be the composition of the people that I'm hanging out with down there, being tormented into perpetuity, as the lawyers would say? Well, you'll be paying into perpetuity, Mr. DeForest. What am I, Bobby fucking Bonilla? What are you talking about here? But anyway, and I had this epiphany, and Luby's aware of the story. I was covering a basketball game, and we were going to go to the campus there at St. John's, and the game was being held in like what is no better than it wasn't even like a glamorous high school gym that they were playing their home games at. And I played at the Garden there, Luke Arnesecca with the sweaters and everything. But this, I guess, was Alumni Hall, it might have been called, at St. John's. Bob Shepard was the PA announcer, the great Bob Shepard. Jita. And I've often told the story. I got a chance. I was introduced to Bob Shepard by the guy I was working with, a fellow named Sonny Hirsch, who was a play-by-play voice many years, University of Miami Hurricanes, a legendary guy here in town. I might have made a little book on the side. Certainly made great use of score phone at the time as he was looking up every ball game, and he had action on virtually everything. And he says, he knew I idolized Bob Shepard because I love stadium announcers, ring announcers, and all of that. And he introduces me to Shepard. And I say, "Bob, it's such a pleasure to meet you. I've admired your work forever." And he says, Thank you. Wow. It wasn't the sound system at Yankee Stadium. It was Shepard all along. He was one of these. It was like Johnny Two Times, in some mafia movie. Anyway, so I had to kill some time as I was in New York, and I saunter into the Jamaica Queens off-track betting parlor. At the time, there were no screens in these kind of facilities. You couldn't watch the race. You could only hear it on a speaker, and they would just transition as if you were in some old school bookie joint out of a movie or something. And you were thinking, wow, I mean, how weird is this that when the race is going off, even though you can't see it, everybody looks up at the speaker on the ceiling in unison, like you're in some ancient Italian painting or something. Everybody's just looking up here to the sky. And I'm looking around the room and I'm thinking, this is the sickest bunch of degenerates I have ever seen collected in one space. And it hit me, Luby, like a ton of bricks. This is purgatory, and hell has to be the same people in the same room, only you can't even bet on the races.
Yeah, at least you can bet there.
Like I've always said, if they're simulcasting in hell, I'm all in. I bring this up for a reason, though, Luby, because we live in South Florida, and this is where the show originates from. Yes. We've been here. Luby's been here his entire life, now 41 years. Happy birthday, Luby, by the way. I don't know if we got to that on No Filter yesterday, but
thank you.
Congrats on making it another year. When are you going to turn your attention to some serious work, son?
Yeah. Well, probably never. We're digging
Why
deeper into
would you when
this
you could be
world.
in this business, huh? If it's free, it's me. There you
Honestly.
go. Freebie King. That's what it's all about if you're a member of the media. But yeah, I mean, we're just in baseball purgatory here.
Yep.
And we've been there forever with our Miami Marlins, formerly known as the Florida Marlins. They had a couple of moments of glory. They made it to the postseason this year, but the organization is operating under some kind of bizarre occult curse that exceeds anything. I mean, beyond the Bambino. Babe Ruth could be rolling over in his grave right now saying, I don't know how they're going to get out from underneath that. As we finally had something good happen here. This is a team that nobody attends, right? You would have thought somebody called in a bomb scare to the stadium. Hey, did you see that? Nobody showed up at the ball game today. No, the police were out there earlier. It turned out to be a fake. And that's every night, right? It doesn't matter. It could be like World Series Game 7. I guess, in Miami, because we're a bandwagon jumping town and we like big events, the people turn out for stuff like that. They would eventually draw some crowds, but nothing this year as they were heading down the stretch. But they made one good move in the last several years, and that was to hire and become a pioneer in this category. This was not a token hire, Louis. Would you assume
Oh, no.
that Kim Eng had the credentials to get a general manager's job somewhere in Major League Baseball? If not with the Marlins, then it was going to happen sometime in the very near future.
Yeah, she'd been in baseball for over 2 decades. She'd been an assistant GM, I think, for nearly a decade. And she had worked with, I think, both the Yankees and the Dodgers, like really good organizations. She was extremely respected, and no one questioned that hire. No one.
No, and she did, you would have to say an admirable job. Didn't hit on everything, right? Avisail Garcia. I hate to say it, Louis, because we don't like to impugn the integrity of these are, after all, human beings. But you would have to say that this guy is a human stiff. No, Avisail
Oh my
Garcia was
God.
awful. She made other moves that backfired. Robertson, who she acquired at the trade deadline, the closer from the Mets, who was lights out in New York, almost made him forget about Edwin Diaz and that silly celebration they had. Why do teams still do that, by the way, Louis? Don't you cringe when you see a bunch of guys, grown men, jumping up and down like they had just won the cheerleading competition? The international, well, we're here with the International Scholastic High School cheerleading competition. And I tell you what, this team from Rancho Cucamonga is really something. But I mean, other than that, why would you do this silliness of jumping up and down, especially after you'd seen Edwin Diaz, the lights out closer for, I mean, this guy was Mariano Rivera on steroids last year. Unbelievable. Maybe he was on steroids. I don't know. Is that how he popped his knee? Dr. Galea, I got a patient for you. No, his name is Woods, Tiger Woods. That's it. But yeah, I mean, the story was a shocker yesterday, was it not? We did some exploration on this earlier this morning, Mike Lubitz, on one of our other shows. And that Kim Eng would look at the Marlins and say, you know what? I know you want me back, but I'm out of here. After becoming the first woman in North American sports history to hold this level of managerial position, the general manager, you would have to say that she was instrumental. I don't know how much influence she had on hiring Skip Schumacher, who could
She hired
easily be the
him.
manager of the year.
She hired him.
Hired him, right? Okay, so she found a guy from the Cardinals organization, one of the solid organizations in all of sports, St. Louis Cardinals. It doesn't matter; they can have like a shit team; they're still like dangerous, are they not? St. Louis Cardinals, they draw fans; they really know how to do it. And so she picks this guy off of their bench, and he does a marvelous job. You had a 180-degree turnaround in what has to be the key category for any team that is not laced and laden with superstars, like the Braves or the Dodgers, to make it to the postseason, which is prevail in one-run games.
Yes, yes.
Marlins horrible at that the previous season. I mean, set an all-time record for being wretched. Casey Stengel was off the hook with the 1962 Mets. Well, we lost a lot of one-run games. It's a bullshit excuse. I mean, if you're a good team, you win those one-run games, and that's what the Marlins did all year long. And then on top of that, she makes a couple of bold moves at the trade deadline, which this was a team that was supposedly always strapped for cash. The owner, Bruce Sherman, a billionaire, somehow is pulling lint out of his pockets whenever it comes time to make an acquisition that might help the ball club. And we've been down so very damn long with this team that it looks like up to me. I mean, Jim Morrison could have been inspired by the Marlins to write that song. And so what happens? I mean, they're afraid to ante up a little bit of capital to Kim Ng, who did a brilliant job as general manager, get him to the postseason. And on top of that, then they want to put somebody in management and Peter Principal, somebody on top of her, so that she no longer has the authority to make the moves that she would feel necessary to make the ball club better.
Which we know didn't work. Like when Jeter was the one on top, Jeter hired her. He was the president. She was the GM.
His
But he was
only
like,
good move,
oh,
perhaps, besides
yeah, it
quitting.
failed. It didn't work.
Yeah.
When this last year they finally let her do the shopping, look what she did. She turned around a 69 win team, made it an 82 win ball club. They played really well down the stretch. They played well run ball games. They made good moves at the trade deadline. All the things you want a club to do that gives fans rise for hope. And then you want to go sit her back in her place. Like, what is wrong? This organization frustrates the crap out of me.
They just are skeet shooting your hopes and dreams.
Yes. Oh.
Therefore, the purgatory reference. We are in baseball purgatory. Lubie and I have been existing here for a long, long time. We had a couple of thrills along the way, 97, 2003. Got Rise for Hope a few years ago during the COVID year, and that hope was quickly dashed as we suffered a series of one-round knockouts, the likes of which would have had the commission even questioning in Las Vegas whether or not you should be licensed to fight again. I think Tijuana, they might take this guy. You could headline a card down there. Yeah, the theater. Yeah, Triple X Theater. Unbelievable. So that was the story here in South Florida, and it should be a little bit of a shocker. Now, her name has been mentioned like a Clockwork Orange. Her name has been mentioned, but in a couple of favorable spots. Boston Red Sox, you would think she has a little bit of a history with Alex Cora. They were working when Cora was with the Dodgers years ago. Kim Ng was working in the front office there in some under capacity to being the general manager.
She was assistant
GM. They might get along because Cora supposedly is the guy that is calling all the shots there, like a Bill Belichick.
Yeah, that's
in Beantown. In terms of personnel, they always have the possibility of bouncing back because you know what, Lubie? This is a key in sports these days. They have the fabulous moolah.
Yes, they do have money. Yes.
Yeah. Like Alabama, they got the moolah.
Yep.
You think Georgia, has taken any backseat to Alabama in terms of money they're spending on players?
Not now. No, they've become top notch.
That's what it's all about in this industry. Marlins are also notoriously cheap.
Yes.
Penurious organization. Although the previous ownership before this guy, Bruce Sherman, this cat who nobody knows anything about, do we even know how he made his money? What did he do? Did he invent the special sauce for a Big Mac? What is his entrepreneurial background? We know nothing about this guy, man. He may as well be Allie Sherman.
Honestly, be better off.
Goodbye, Allie. A mystery man, and he took over from a couple of guys that were absolutely just despised by. Sports fans often have antagonistic viewpoints towards the ownership, but this was escalated to an exponent I don't think I've ever seen before when Jeffrey Loria, the art dealer, and his son-in-law, who just had like a Matt Gaetz type of evil look to him, David Sampson, and spoke in very much the same tones. Well, if you don't like it, that's tough shit on you.
Yeah, go fuck
We're taking away all of your rights and privileges. And we're going to stall everything until the country goes out of business. Okay, great. It's the kind of leadership we need. But they ran a baseball Ponzi scheme. They came in with nothing. I don't think Loria owned the shirt on his back. The art he was dealing, he was underneath a highway overpass selling Dayglow Jesus paintings. All of a sudden, he owns a baseball team, right? Holy Bruce McNally, what are we talking about here?
Exactly, the Jersey guy. The hockey.
So it's been this way forever, yeah. Unfortunately for us, our teams are fueled by self-sabotage. I don't know about your team, but it's not a pleasant condition to live with. And tantamount, Lubie, to being in purgatory, my friend.
Yes.
Nothing will ever top. I hate to say what some guy propositioned me with while I was at that OTB because he needed a 20. Well, let's say the clientele was less than 5-star. That particular establishment. It was great meeting Bob Shepard. Thank you. Okay, Bob. Let's wrap it up. All right, that'll do it for us. We're upset here because, it just seems like another bozoic move made by a franchise that is known for primarily doing just that.
Yeah, it was just unnecessary. You finally out of all the garbage, you hit it right. You did something right. Why do you have to screw it up? Just stay out of the way. Just shut up. Leave her alone. See what she can do.
Yeah, give her total autonomy
Yeah,
over the
let her
club.
be the president if you want to
Let
make
her
someone
fall on her
famous.
face that way if it was going to be the eventuality. But how you made your ball club better by making this decision and making it prohibitive for anybody to want to return or take the job, right? Except some schmenk that's just trying to get into the business here and will put up with any terms whatsoever. Yeah, sure, I'll take that. Yeah, what, morning drive? Oh no, overnights? Okay, yeah, that's fine with me. I'm good overnight. I'm really good at night. In fact, I can't even sleep. I have insomnia. All right, you're just willing to take the job, man, because you want to be in the business. That's the kind of candidates you would have to think
Yeah, who are you
are
gonna
going to
get?
be available to this organization, which seemed to have a good one right there. I don't know if did she hire Scott Boras or something to negotiate her next deal?
I don't know.
Well, I can't imagine her demands would have been that outrageous, knowing what the landscape financially of the franchise was. I mean, we're not talking Sam Bankman-Fried here, my friend. All right, who isn't singing on this guy, by the way? Wow. This trial is not going very favorably. Have you followed any of that? Sam
No,
Bankman-Fried, the FTX guy,
no.
the girlfriend. I mean, she nailed him to the cross, and he's just. I wish they had cameras on this thing because he has to be looking like Ralph Cramden there by the defendant's desk. Just haven't. How bad can they hammer me? All right, Rangers, congratulations. Haven't lost a game yet in the postseason. Bruce Bochy, man, a salty old dog of a manager coming through in style. And they're going to unload Max Scherzer, I believe, in game 3. So we'll see what old Max has left in the tank. If he can carry them, they haven't lost a game yet in the postseason. Pretty remarkable, up 2-0 on the Stros. And Philadelphia does it again tonight as the Philadelphia Phillies taking on the long shot 50-1 Arizona Diamondbacks. They handled them pretty easily last night. Game got a little dicey late, but Philadelphia are going to throw Aaron Nola with the knuckle curve out there. Do you remember Bert Hooton? Was he
No.
alive when, or were you alive when he was pitching?
I don't know Bert Hooton.
Why don't I ask you if you saw Cy Young pitch in person? Bert Hooton, who the fuck is that? No, he had the knuckle curve. It was a great pitch with the Dodgers
and the
Cubs.
Cowboys get back in their winning ways as the Chargers continue to find ways to lose games.
Yeah.
What was that?
They continue, the Chargers, and I don't know if it's Staley or if it's this kid's fault. I can't imagine that it is because I still like Justin Herbert over Tua Tagovailoa, even though Tua is a great guy and is sparking this Miami Dolphin team that we follow more closely than any other in the NFL to just an electrifying start to the season. You know who we're forgetting about, though? And I thought they would be buried because of all of this gambling stuff that had their players suspended. The Detroit Lions are also 5-1.
Yes, they're playing really well.
Yes.
Boy,
Dan Campbell, who, wow, I mean, talk about inspirational and motivational speeches.
Man Campbell, that's what it is.
Jackie Sherrill had nothing on this guy, right? When he castrated that cow in front of his Texas, student athletes. Said, you're going to go out there and kill him. That's what I want you to do. But Dan Campbell, I don't know. What is he going to? Is he going to eat a live animal before the game? One of these games? What do you think?
No, he hasn't had.
Is there a wager on that? Can we call FanDuel, see what they think? Can we get 20-1 on that? I would go ahead and risk it at that point. I put up a dime. All right, we have to run. Thanks so much, everybody. Sorry about the whining. We're just upset here in South Florida. It can happen, right?
Yeah. I mean, every city has struggling teams. We actually were on a nice roll. So obviously, the Marlins are the ones that are going to fuck it up.
Yeah. I mean, I was willing to bet my bar mitzvah money that they would do well again next year. But all of a sudden, all of that right out the window. Your hopes, whoosh, vanishing in just a split second. Join us again tomorrow for another edition of the Morning Briefing. Always great to be here on nofilter.net. Purgatory. Think about it, my friends. Have you been there because of something that's happened to you in the sporting life? I would have to venture to say whether it was that rat hole of an establishment, the New York OTB in Flushing, Queens. And this is, 30 some odd years ago. So can you imagine what a dump it was then? Or any other place. Maybe you've discovered it right there, in the owner's suite at a stadium where you said, you know what? Rooting for this team is a living hell. And it's happening. For Mike Lubie, it's a birthday boy. Did we celebrate your birthday on No Filter yesterday, or did we just let that slide?
No, you said
Okay,
it.
all right.
I appreciate it.
And how did it feel? I mean, to reach this new
Feel
age
old.
milestone.
I feel old.
Are you still regular? Is only the only
Sure.
issue that you really have to deal with. I mean, if you're in there once a day at least, that's a good thing, man. All right, we've taken the show into the toilet, and we will see you next time on the next edition. For Mike Lubie Lubitz, I'm Jeff DeForest of the Morning Briefing.